guest speaker is Attorney Eduardo Salazar Ortuño, is a public interest environmental lawyer and administrative law adjunct professor at the University of Murcia in Spain. He received his Master's of Law degree at the University of Dresden and PhD in Environmental Law in 2018. He's a member of the Environmental Law Worldwide Alliance. Attorney Salazar has been working tirelessly to protect the ecosystems by taking to task government and corporations. He's committed on the protection of nature through the law and the social action. He started the defense of Segura River in southeast Spain, enforcing criminal environmental law against polluters and authorities. He acts as one of the experts on the Aarhus Convention that was signed in 1998 at the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. This environmental agreement is aimed to empower citizens and NGOs to defend the environment using access to information, public participation, and access to justice. So Attorney Salazar represented the Spanish NGOs before authorities and courts from 2002 to 2019 to save the last wild coast of Murcia against resorts development, especially to recover the natural protected area. The last years, he was mostly dealing with the Mar Menor ecological crisis, providing legal advice to NGOs and citizens before administrations and courts, and promoting from the University of Murcia, Chair of Human Rights and Rights of Nature, created by Professor Teresa Vicente, the legal personhood for the coastal lagoon and its basin. So without further ado, please welcome Attorney Eduardo Salazar.
Okay, good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Thank you very much,
Buenas tardes.
and to Candy to invite me to be with you. And this is rain. This is the rain. I was here in Philippines for 1 week ago in Cebu in a conference for environmental lawyers from around the world, and we were sharing many experience, and one of them was the experience of Rights of Nature. So there are lawyers, they are thinking about to work in these issues, but they are lawyers, they are yet skeptic about the idea of rights of nature, and I was also a skeptic about this idea, but now I am committed to rights of nature because Professor Teresa Vicente convinced me, and we worked together in a real proposal about rights of nature in our region. We started to propose a new regulation in Mar Menor. I will present you what Mar Menor is, which is a coastal lagoon in the southeast of Spain. And I will show you why we think rights of nature is the solution or the potential solution for a bad approach, not I mean bad, for an anthropocentric approach who have not helped to save the lagoon. The lagoon now is polluted, and this is the location of the lagoon at the south of Europe, you know, Spain, and at the southeast of the country is the region where I come from, is Murcia. And in the southeast, there is this coastal lagoon close to the Mediterranean Sea. The coastal lagoon is the largest lagoon in the in Europe, salty, and is Mediterranean Sea, isolated, and it means that have a special biodiversity. I mean, it's not the same biodiversity like in the Mediterranean. It's very, very similar, but not the same. And because it's not the same, we need to protect this special ecosystem. This is good approach for Rage of Nature to start Rage of Nature in Spain because it's a small ecosystem. We are not we have not created in Spain a law for rights of nature in general in all over Spain. We have started with a small ecosystem, and this is very important because it's not only the lagoon but the surrounding of the lagoon, so the basin of the lagoon, which is very very big, and the activities they are polluting the lagoon are on the basin, which is agriculture, pig farming, and land use. I mean, construction of building around the lagoon. And they are doing these activities are in the basin. When we include the basin in the ecosystem, which because it's the approach we need to understand that it's not separate, the lagoon is not separate from the basin. We have the solution to, I could say stop, but to regulate better or to fight better against the impacts they come from the basin to the lagoon. The lagoon was protected before with anthropocentric law. That is very important from the 90s with the most important regulations in our country. So it could be not better protected with anthropocentric law. It could not be better because it has Ramsar Convention, which is a convention for wetlands, Barcelona Convention, which is a convention for the Mediterranean Sea, Natura 2000, which is the most powerful biodiversity network in Europe, in the European Union, not in Europe, sorry, in the European Union, Natura 2000, from 20 years ago was protected at Natura 2000. And it was protected using national and regional laws. So the first one were international laws, and at the end was their regional protection. So it means that the Mar Menor was hyper protected. I mean, in the paper, they cannot have more. Yes. But what happened? That although all these regulations, the Mar Menor was polluted, was under a process of eutrophication, which is many nutrients. I mean, many algae in the surface of the lagoon, not so much oxygen in the deep of the lagoon, and then the fishes, many, yeah, the fishes came out from water to look for oxygen and died, and it was horrible. It was in 2019. And all people in Murcia, in the region, and in Spain, in all over Spain, and outside Spain, but mostly in Murcia, mostly in Spain, were really shocked about these pictures and about this situation. This was the fishes, but what about the marine prairies, so the flora? We lose 85% of flora of the lagoon because of this eutrophication process. So people were really, really angry, really. They needed something different. a different approach because the authorities with the nature protection laws could not save the lagoon, could not manage to save, could not manage to confront or to fight against the business of agriculture or the business of pig farm. It could not be possible. We started criminal cases against authorities in the Mar Menor case with the prosecutor, with the state prosecutor against authorities because of the lack of inspections as a kind of omission, criminal omission, lack of action. We started criminal proceedings. They are still in the court. I mean, from 2017, and they are still in court. So we have no answer, not yet the answer of the criminal law. We started other proceeding in administrative law, and they are still in the administration. So the people were tired. People needed another hope for Mar Menor. And then came Teresa Vicente, the professor. And Teresa Vicente was working on rights of nature for maybe 30 years ago in a academic way. But then they came to people, to the meetings of the social movements around the Mar Menor and say, I have an idea. The idea is to give rights to the Mar Menor, I mean, to give right to the flora and fauna and to the lagoon and start a new relationship between the polluters and the lagoon. The lagoon is not under a domination of the polluters. The lagoon have its own dignity, and its own dignity means that it's at the same level. You have the rights of the polluters to deliver their business, to exercise their property rights, but you have at the other side the rights of the lagoon, and their rights are at the same level, or maybe if the judge, if you go to the court and the judge decided this, the rights of the Mar Menor can be over the property rights. And this is very important in a juridical way because if you let the property rights to go alone, in Spain, for example, we don't have the rights for a healthy environment. In the Constitution, it's not a fundamental right, not yet. But we are waiting for many years, and we don't have this right. So it means, in a juridical way, we needed to bring rights to the Mar Menor to make a equal situation between the polluters and the ecosystem. We started with a local or regional initiative to bring a new law, which is a popular legislative initiative. We started with a regional one, but this regional one was not successful. And then we started in July 2020 with a popular or citizen legislative initiative to the Spanish Parliament. So we went directly to Madrid. We didn't keep the conflict in Murcia. So we went to the national one. It was very difficult because it was pandemic confinement, and people needed to collect 500,000 signatures from people on the street because it was not possible to have electronic signatures. So it means a big effort to make on the streets, to take people, they were with the mask, they don't wanted to take the pencil to sign, to make the signature. So it was not so easy. It's not so easy like now. So you know it, how horrible was the confinement in this time. So but we started to collect the signatures. This picture is with the Ministry of the Environment of Spain, which is no more ministry because it come elections in Spain in 2 weeks. I hope she continue, but it's not so clear. But she was with us, and this moment was when we submitted the proposal to the parliament in August 2021. The fishes came out again from the water, maybe 5 tons of fishes. So really horrible, really horrible. And people was we I I can say we brought hope for people with the signatures because they see as a new approach to overcome the situation with a new law, including the president, the which is the president now from Spain, Pedro Sanchez, signs the popular legislative initiative at this time, and we got it. So we got more than 600,000 signatures, and we brought the boxes. You can see me now in the picture with the signatures, with the papers. We were very worried about to lose this work, so we did that in the night without telling to anyone that we wanted to go to Madrid with a car. With all the signatures, we were afraid that we lose or with fire or something. Somebody will take the, yeah, because it was very important. It was a new law, the first law in Europe with for rights of nature. So it was the social part of the process, and then started the legislative part of the process. The legislative part was accompanied, so we were joined by the deputies. This is a deputy from the Green Party. In the middle, Teresa is the professor, Teresa Vicente. Teresa was presenting the law or the proposal of the law in a committee in Madrid in March, the 15th of March. In April of 2022, the Congress votes for the initiative, and we got that almost all the deputies agree. The green color is the positive vote, and the red colors is the ultra right party, which is called Vox. And they were saying that if we approve this kind of law, the wild porks will be mayors in the cities. It was the argument, they say. It was the argument. If you give right to nature, so it means that the porks with wild porks, they say wild pork, so I don't know the name. They will go to the municipalities and be mayors. They didn't realize, they didn't understood the change of mentality or the change of mind. That means the anthropocentric, the ecocentric paradigm that we were, the ecocentric shift that we were introducing in the law and in Europe. This is very important. They didn't realize that, and they have already the ultra right party have started remedy against the law at the constitutional court. We hope we will not lose, but it's on the table, I need to say. Yeah, it's been challenged. Yeah, it was the people at the door of the Congress. They were always with us, with many powerful energy, people from Murcia, normal people. They were protagonists or part of a legislative process. And this is very unusual because in Spain we have this mechanism. I don't know mechanism. I don't know if you have in Philippines this popular legislative initiative. You have, you have, good. But in Spain we have, but is this is the we from the democracy in Spain we have democracy from the 78 as the dictator died in Franco. And then from this time until now, only two popular legislative initiatives were successful. Only two. Since that, so we had more than 80 started, 80, but only two. This is one of them, and this is the first environmental popular legislative initiative for rights of nature. This is very important, and a journalist talked to me. You have you realized what you got it, what you have got, because not only about rights of nature, which is very important, but about democracy. So people, people power change the paradigm of the environmental law through a popular legislative initiative. This is very beautiful. Teresa had received a telephone call from UN when we started the local popular legislative initiative, and the program Harmony with Nature, which is based in UN, in the Secretary of the Assembly in New York, they were they called us to go to New York to present the initiative at the dialogues for rights of nature they are organizing every year, and in the Earth Day, that is 22 of April, and we went there in 2022, and Teresa was there in 2023, and I think he will come back. This is the report of the Secretary of the Assembly General of the United Nations, where it's on Spanish, sorry, but it is the Mar Menor. The Mar Menor initiative was drafted. And this is the law. The law came after the Senate, so Congress and Senate, we have been two cameras, Congress and Senate. In Congress, we have this green color, and in the Senate, only two votes against. So the majority came from the law. And then that was in September, or that was in September, and then in the 3rd of October, came the law in the Gazette, in the official Gazette of the state of Spain. We could not cry more because it was very emotional to got this successful story. I mean, you were with the people on the street taking signatures. You were with the deputies talking about the law. You were convincing people to vote, and then you have finally a law which is enforceable. And I will talk about more about the law, a little about the law, in order to explain you why we think this law will works. It's the first ecosystem in Europe with legal personhood. When we say legal personhood, I think all of you know what it means, legal personhood. But Teresa Vicente, the professor, convinced me with the following argument. If the banks and the associations and the foundation, they have legal personhood, this is a fiction. This is a fiction because they are not persons. We are persons. We are natural persons. But not we, but the capitalism created this idea to make the traffic, the juridical or the economical traffic more quickly with the legal personhood of banks, of associations, foundations. Why not to use this fiction for nature conservation. Why not? If it can be useful, it can be a tool. Why don't you think about bring to the ecosystem we are part of it this fiction that they are persons? How we manage to decide in the name of the ecosystem? I will explain you later because we create commissions as guardians. But the preamble of the law say the lagoon goes from being a mere object, so it changed. It's no more an object, it's a subject. And this is very important to it. It was very important because have not only biological, environmental, but cultural and spiritual subject, and the basin also. The 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 governance of the Mar Menor coastal lagoon and the basin with the rates of nature will be done through three committees from guardians, stakeholders, representatives, and a scientific committee. This is very important, the scientific committee, because the scientific committee will interpret what means, what is the content of the right, what is the content of the rights to exist, the rights to be restored, the right to the different rights we have in the law. We can later think. We have the possibility to enforce the law through a provision which is for access to justice. I mean, every person can go to the administration and go to court in the name of the lagoon and the basin, in the name of the Mar Menor. Every person. It means more than a popular action. That is a substitution action. You are substituting the coastal lagoon because you are defending the rights. We don't want to, our idea is not to replace the existing laws. It's only to make it powerful. We will use the existing laws in order to defend the lagoon, but we are taking a different approach or an advanced approach in order to say that to the authorities or the institutions, let place for the people to defend the rights of the Mar Menor, and let the scientific committee to interpret what are the content of the rights of the Mar Menor. And I think I am finishing the presentation, and I am happy and pleased to start with you a debate. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. So, thank you. That's a very clear and brief presentation of the case ng Mar Menor. So, for the questions, are there any question? So, there is a comment. Kudos, your story is so inspiring. No, from the uh, from here, any questions or comments? Mac first. Attorney Maki.
Hello. Okay. So, thank you, Eduardo, for sharing your success story in a way, no? With respect to the struggle, no, for the recognition of the rights of nature. I see a number of parallelisms in our system and even yung historically and how things have happened, like the issue about fish kill. There are a number of incidents here in the Philippines where we experience that. And my first question is, in terms of the context of Mar Menor, I'm interested in the constituencies. Because I'm comparing it, for instance, in Laguna de Bay here in southern Manila, and of course Manila Bay, where it's surrounded by a number of municipalities. I'm interested in who are the constituents or stakeholders around the Mar Menor area, because you mentioned earlier that there are agricultural farms, etc. So business is thriving around the basin of the lagoon. I'm particularly interested because you had this law through initiative, and we have a similar law on that. Because we're wondering, in terms of our work with Ron, especially in the context of the urban setting, and it's somehow challenging in terms of really bringing the issue to them, no? The people, especially in urban centers, but there's no problem with in rural areas where you have the fisher folk, the farmers who are directly dependent on the resources. That's my first question. What are the constituents in the who supported the Mar Menor initiative?
Who supported?
Yeah, yeah.
So the pictures of the dying fishes were so strong that we in Murcia we have 1,300,000 persons, and if we got more than 600,000, that means the half of the Murcian people maybe supported that. I mean, mostly people they were living in cities, and they are tourists, or they have a second house in the Mar Menor, and they go to enjoy the Mar Menor. They were the people who signed the initiative. You are asking if the farmers
They supported also. I mean, because it's very, I think it's interesting to know in terms of who supported this initiative. Like possibly, you said these are probably the middle class and the upper class people who have more political
yeah
clout in terms
yeah
of pushing the law. That
yeah. Mhm. I think in the basin of Mar Menor, we don't have so much. We in this part of the region of Spain, it's mostly middle class. It's mostly that, and the companies they are making agriculture. They are not little farmers. They are big companies, agribusiness. So it's when we talk about farmers there are no farmers in the basin. There are big companies. They are making big extensions of agriculture with watermelon, with lettuce, with broccoli, with many vegetables. They sell this in the north of Europe. So don't think about it. There are small farmers around the Mar Menor making a small pollution. No, it's big farmers and big pollution. These big farmers, I imagine they have not signed the petition, but we are talking about 100 200 companies, big companies, but big ones. They maybe many of them they come not from Murcia. They are not. They take immigration people to work on the field, but they are not people from Murcia. They are from England, they are from Belgium, they are from France. So they are not part of the process because they were accused by the criminal court cases, and I think they are not interested in rights of nature for sure.
Sige, go.
Yeah. Another question with respect to the law itself, because you mentioned that the law legal personhood. No? I'm just I mean interested also because here in the Philippines, what we're pushing for the Rights of Nature Bill, it's entirely, we're saying it's a sui generis, and not similar to a corporation where you will give them a juridical personality and all that, no?
Mhm.
So what do you see any advantage in terms of pushing for a legal personhood rather than treating it as a separate entity that
That is
not
neither
necessarily
hierarchical.
similar to a corporation, or do you see any difference in that?
I think it's more powerful to give personality to the Mar Menor, because if you to an ecosystem, because if you don't bring legal personhood, you cannot bring rights. You need to push this ecosystem as a subject in order to give rights. So you need the personhood. And at the other, I have said maybe may not not so good before, but if you have an ecosystem as a subject, as a person, the rights of this person can be compared with the right to other person, the right to from the polluters and from the people that are doing their economic activities around the basin.
You're saying with respect to the right to property of this corporation and as against the legal the rights of the
Yeah.
ecosystem, no?
Yes, the right of the ecosystem is a more powerful tool against the right of the property rights of the polluter. It's a more powerful tool because if you go to the court saying, I am defending the rights of this person against this other person, you have a conflict between persons, not a conflict between a property, a corporation, which is not taking care of an ecosystem which is protected by the law as a object, as a protected area. And then you are not respecting the law. It's not the same that you are not respecting the law or the provision of a law, that you are not respecting the rights of another person. When we are litigating between you and me, it's not that you are making you are not respecting the law. You are not respecting my rights. And then we have a conflict in an equal basis. This is my approach. Maybe I am wrong.
Yeah, because if we compare it with corporations, not all rights are in corporations are not imbued with all the rights compared to a natural person, right?
Yeah.
Natural person still has more rights than juridical persons like corporations and all
Do
that.
you think that? Do you think that the corporations have not so much rights?
Yeah, compared they have more, the natural person have more rights compared to a corporation, but they are more powerful in the sense because of the context of having these big resources.
Yeah.
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 So would that mean the sui generis perspective? Because Attorney Maki was saying in our law, we have advocated in the law to add another class. So it's neither juridical nor natural. Ecosystems are neither juridical or natural persons, but a sui generis, a class of its own. Yes, a third category. What do you think of that? He's asking. Do you think this is also a possibility to add another category in terms of rights? There is also a discussion with among us, Mac, also that in the law, the question of responsibilities, rights and responsibilities also is a question of many. We project that this will be a question from the lawmakers because for every right there is a responsibility. So how will that play? How is that playing in Mar Menor, given that perspective, that human social construct of having rights at the same time responsibility?
About the first issue about the third genus in sui generis person for the ecosystem. it's not. I think it's interesting. I mean, if you are, but this sui generis is under the juridical person or over the juridical person.
I think it's equal, or at least, but it would never be
Under.
under.
There.
Okay.
Yeah. And Maki, I think we can even say that this is the foundation. There will be no people without ecosystem.
Hmm.
There would be no people
No.
without an ecosystem.
We
So
are part of
it's
the
yes,
ecosystem.
yes. It's so
Yeah.
it's important.
We don't make a difference when we started the law with Teresa Vicente, because Teresa Vicente is the person who has the idea. She didn't want to make a sui generis, but it's clear that it's the first one ecosystem, and it's the first ecosystem with personality, with personhood in Spain and in Europe, and it's a kind of, maybe we are in the same way like you. I mean, we have discovered a sui generis category, you know, because it's the first one. We have not in the law. You have the law in English. I have sent to to the to the to your organization. If you read the law, you will not find a description of the juridical person. You will not find this. So maybe it's a sui generis personhood also. And about the responsibilities, I remember a conversation with Teresa Vicente about because many lawyers, my father is lawyer also, and the first question that my father told me was, is the Mar Menor have rights, must have duties also, or responsibilities. But Teresa Vicente, I talked with Teresa Vicente about this issue, and she told me nature cannot have duties against people or for in front of people, because they see nature give us so much energy, uh, to give us so much that we cannot ask for responsibility, for more responsibility between us. I mean, what is the issue? When you are talking about responsibilities, is you are saying that Mar Menor must pay a person if this person is have a problem in this. I don't understand the responsibility issue. When is playing a role, this responsibility issue? What could be an example of this responsibility issue?
It's like the logic that if you have rights, then you have responsibility. And so people would say that, oh, we can sue nature because it has a legal personhood, and which is uh, impossible in a way. But I think the argument for not having responsibility is also being a sui generis. It doesn't mean that it should have responsibility. That's why in the recent version of the bills that we have passed in Congress, and it was suggested also by Garn, that to put a phrase that the the giving of responsibility does not entail the giving of personality or recognition of rights and personality does not necessarily mean that nature would have correlative obligation or responsibility. Yeah. I would like, I'm also interested to know, in terms of the implementation of environmental laws in Spain, no, or even particularly in the area that you work on. Implementation is basically the problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and similar here. Because usually, I when we are discussing about Ron Bill to groups, and we are saying that our problem will not end once this law is passed. No, implementation is also a key to make this work.
Enforcement.
Yeah, enforcement. Yeah.
Mhm.
And in because I've not seen the law, But in terms of the, the if there's if the nature sustain an injury, what are the remedies provided for, no, to protect the Mar Menor in under the law?
Yeah, we have the same remedies than before in terms of actions in the procedural laws, but we have here in the Mar Menor law a provision which is in favor of people they want to go to court to represent the Mar Menor rights and don't pay costs in the don't pay costs, have a proof, ¿cómo es? Benefits for the proof, so procedural benefits in order to defend the Mar Menor. This is the question of the law is to let people, governance and enforcement, let the people, let in hands of the people the governance and the enforcement of this law, not let the enforcement in the hands of the authorities, because the authorities, they cannot stop the farmers. The farmers, they are paying the campaign of the politics, and then they cannot go against. So they can, but they will not do it because it's so powerful. It's so much power. It's so big the lobby of the farmers that they will not stop the business around the Mar Menor. So we think that putting in the hands of the people the governance and the enforcement of this law and in the tribunal. We believe in tribunal. That is maybe our mistake, but we believe that the courts need to change the mind and need to start to apply the law in a different manner.
I have other questions, but I would defer to others.
Comment. Thanks for all the great work you have done to bring to the front the legal personality and the subjectivity of Mar Menor. Indeed, all parts of nature are subjects. As Thomas Berry said, the universe is a communion of subjects, not a collection of objects. Thomas emphasized that every component of the earth community, living and non-living, has three rights: the right to be, the right to have habitat or a place to be, and the right to fulfill its role in the ever-renewing processes of the earth community. Every being has rights to be recognized and revered. Trees have tree rights, insects have insects rights, rivers have river rights, mountains have mountain rights. So too with the entire range of beings throughout the universe. All rights are limited and relative. So also from Thomas Berry. So Thomas Berry is actually an inspiration in the rights of nature movement mostly. So that is Sister Bing of the Laudato Si movement Pilipinas. Oo. Who is also LSM is also a founding member of the Rights of Nature Philippines somehow. Okay, thank you, Sister Bing, for that comment. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask. We have a lawyer, but he is a generous lawyer, and he will not answer in a very legal terms. So that's why we will understand him better. So pwede lang pong magtanong. Baka si Greg, meron pa, Ivan, questions. Dahil kung wala, si Attorney Maki, meron ulit. Thanks for reading, sabi ni Sister Bing. Go, Maki, some more questions. You need to learn, Maki. So we give you the floor. Go.
Yeah, in terms of the law was passed and the initial once it was approved by the Congress, then you don't need to have a plebiscite because
a plebiscite?
a plebiscite.
No.
No,
No.
because here in the Philippines, our initiative law requires that after its passage, there would be a plebiscite for the
Yeah.
law. Yeah.
Wow. Then
So-
you need two phases.
Yeah, two phases that to get the signatures and then
The plebiscite.
yeah.
Wow.
And usually it's really difficult because the Commission on Election would say we have no money for this type of
Plebiscite.
activity. Yeah.
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 Wow.
Anyway, yeah. Uh, tayo. Sige. Ito may
Sige,
But-
sige, go. Ma.
in Spain also, do you have this procedure in terms of, because we have here the environmental rules of procedure, which covers cases on environmental cases for their expeditious resolution. Do you have a similar procedure at that also?
No, we don't have an environmental code. We have just many regulations from the European Union. Maybe 80% of environmental law in Spain come from Europe, from European Union. But in terms of procedural aspects, we don't have a code for environmental cases. We go to the general administrative, criminal, or civil law, procedural law. You are more advanced in this case.
Still have problems about implementation and capacity even of the courts, no?
Yeah.
To deal with this
I
type
can
of
imagine.
cases. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question.
Mhm.
When the law was granted, when rights was granted to Mar Menor, there was no law on the rights of nature in Spain.
No.
None. From the law, from your discussions during the litigations, for example, what were the reasons you gave to the court to justify that Mar Menor should be given rights? What are the major how do you call that, Maki? Reasons, arguments
Yeah, but
that you propose to the court?
we have not litigate
Ah,
yet.
okay.
We have the law. We are waiting for the regulation for the how the committees will work. It will come a regulation from the state because the law you have the law here and the law describes the committees, but not how they work. Then it will come a regulation to start the committees. And when we start the committees, maybe we will start the litigation. But we have not litigated yet with the law.
So the process, go, Ma.
I think
Clarify.
you always saying is that the you mentioned earlier that the law is being challenged in the Supreme Court.
Yes, but we have no voice in this process because
It will be the
it is a-
Solicitor General who will argue for that.
no. It's a process between the deputies and the Constitutional Court. We as humans, we don't have.
You cannot intervene.
We cannot intervene in this process with the Constitutional Court. So we hope that the Constitutional Court support the law. It will be a very interesting judgment, but we cannot intervene.
So when is that true for other laws that is being challenged in Spain in your jurisdiction? Because here, anybody as taxpayer can challenge any law, and you bring it
Here
to the
not.
court
In Spain,
on constitutional grounds.
No, for constitutional ground, but in Spain, you cannot challenge a law. You can challenge the application of the law, but not directly the law. The law, you can only 50 deputies of the Congress can go to the Constitutional Court to challenge the law, to a recent approved law. It's different,
Yeah, but I think it's more, I think,
restricted.
yeah,
Yeah.
compared here that anyone can
Anyone,
really
no.
challenge the law.
In Spain, we have several problems in environmental litigation because sometimes the politicians they take decisions through law, and they say we approve this complex, this land use complex or this project through law, and then you cannot go to court. Only 50 deputies. You need to go to the political party and make a lobby or advocacy to convince these 50 deputies to go to court in name of the environment or in the name of
But since you cannot go directly to be part of the proceedings,
No.
but do you do any advocacy work with respect to deputies or
Yes.
who would be arguing for the law?
Teresa is the professor Teresa Vicente is doing advocacy with the other parties, other political parties. But I don't know the main argument of Teresa.
In your system also, do you have this local autonomy of local governments? Do you have that classification with national government and local government?
Yes, and regional.
You have that.
And regional.
Okay. Because here, what we're trying to do now is that while we still don't have the law, we're
Yes.
still in the process of pushing the bill in Congress. What we're trying to do is work around the local autonomy
Yeah.
given to the municipalities.
Yeah.
And we're thinking of that ordinance,
Ordinance.
yeah, that would recognize a specific ecosystem in a municipality.
But they have the competence to do it.
Yeah, but we're trying to do it within the framework of general welfare.
Okay.
The argument like recognizing the rights of nature is for the welfare of the people also. So that type of
That is
argument.
the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is a question here, attorney, kaya ba natin? So can we do it for the Sierra Madre mountain ranges? Actually, sister, we have been discussing this and we have been discussing this also particularly with our indigenous peoples in the Sierra Madre. But of course, this is a big strategic fight if we start and push through with recognizing the rights of Sierra Madre mountain ranges. But we will have a meeting with the indigenous peoples council and elders, Sister Bing. So LSM Pilipinas can also help in the dialogue. Because there are 8 provinces surrounding the Sierra Madre mountain ranges. 8. 8.
A big Sierra Madre. Are
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, so it's so huge, but it's a very important ecosystem in the Philippines. It really protects us from typhoons, for example, and many indigenous peoples are also in this area, and it is being threatened now by a construction of a dam.
Oh.
Yes. Oo. So there is a movement. And of course, the rights of nature perspective can be one support, no, also to stop that the Kaliwa Dam if and when we will push through with the campaign. Sister
Sister
Bing.
Bing, kaya naman po but we need to prepare.
Yes.
I'm saying that we can do it, but I think there are legal arguments that we can come up with to push for giving legal personhood or recognizing Sierra Madre having a personality, no? But we need to, like Yoli said, it's a strategic move, and we need really to prepare for it, especially support from scientists also, which you mentioned, because it's one thing also that we're trying to organize also scientists in terms of supporting the bill itself, no?
The scientist part is very important because you are talking about ecosystemic approach, and they know how it works. We are lawyers.
Yes. So there is a question. Many polluted river and bay in the Philippines, Manila Bay, Pasig, Laguna, and even Buwak and Mogpog River in Marinduque can also be a Mar Menor if we give it a try. Yes. Mogpog is in Marinduque. So that's Bet. Bet is in Marinduque. So that's a river that has been destroyed due to mining. Yes. Declared almost like dead. But now there is a movement to dredge it, mugpok. So even if they say that it's biologically dead, so we are actually conducting an investigation also why the dredging. Oo. Sige. And then from, yes, looks like black sand mining. Yes, oo. So another is from Bing Moderno Rochelle. Do you know of any instances where business people have violated the Mar Menor? Plenty. Mar Menor law. Oh, Mar Menor law or protested it after it was enacted. How have you handled it? If we are successful in our campaign to provide rights to the CDO River. So, Rochelle is actually a member of the Rights of Nature Northern Mindanao region, and they have a plan somehow to protect the river system there. So, for example, my Manila-based climate activist come and speak on its behalf or only ask ah or only us that resides here. So can we, in a way, can we file a case here from Metro Manila, even if we are not in Cagayan de Oro, right? Because anybody can represent in any places. So like she's asking Mac, if we file a case here in Manila, but we are protecting CDO River, is that a possibility?
It's even in the rules on environmental procedure under citizen suit, no? Anybody for that matter can bring a case to protect a specific uh, uh, environment, no? Under the context of course of right to a healthy environment, anybody can do that, even if you're not from the place, no? Yeah.
Uh, and Sister being added Verde Island Passage as well. Yes, actually we have started discussing the possibility for Verde Island Passage. Have you heard about this? Yes. Okay. So this is considered as the Amazon of the sea. No? So it's really very important. Yes, Sister Bing, we have many things to do, no? And Eduardo was saying a while ago that he will be back to the Philippines because we have very beautiful ecosystem nature, and it's a pity, no, if we will lose this beautiful ecosystem somehow if we don't uh, protect protect it. Maki?
One question with respect to Mar Menor. Is this within a specific does this to call this spread around specific municipality, or it's just located covered by a specific jurisdiction?
Mar Menor is surrounded by 5 municipalities. One of them was very active with the popular legislative initiative. One of them is have a progressist mayor, and the other, they were not opposing the popular legislative initiative, but they were not opposing that, but they didn't support so much as this other. So
They did not actively support
they did not actively support. No. I think the good thing from the Mar Menor case, from the Mar Menor Popular Legislative Initiative, is that we were so much people that any politician could say anything against us, except of the ultra right, and it was very important. Nobody could say in the Congress and in the Senate, "This is crazy. This is a bad idea. This is a unsuccessful revolution." This is. They didn't say. They were surprised that people brought to the table of the politics such a innovative, a creative law, and nobody could go against because of the powerful pictures from Mar Menor, the satellite situation of Mar Menor, and the powerful movement around the popular legislative initiative.
But did it ever occur in the discussion while you are proposing the Mar Menor law about the framework of the Regalian doctrine, the state owning because do you have that? Because we inherited it from Spain. What do you
The regalia?
Regalian doctrine, no? Uh, all the natural resources is owned by the state, no?
No,
So-
no, no. This is no more in Spain.
Okay.
You have all the environmental resources you have is from the state here in Philippines,
Owned by the state.
owned by the
That's
state.
in our constitution.
The forests, the forest,
Yeah. And even up until now. No?
the coral reef,
Yeah.
all. It's
All, everything, minerals, fisheries.
And the private property, or what is about private property of forest?
The forest is still a public unless it's declared alienable and disposable, then you can have it titled under and but you need to prove your claim, no? Whether by possession for a long time or buying it from etc. No? But do you have that type of framework in the legal system of
No. I think no more.
no more? Huh?
No more.
So we can remove that here also. We have to change that because that's also
Maybe it's not so bad idea that the state is the
at the rate our government is functioning, it's bad.
yeah.
But yeah, but the Regalian Theory also states, Maki, that therefore the state has the authority to decide, know what to do or the use, no? So in fact, even if you
Exploitation,
Yes,
utilization,
everything.
management, everything.
Yeah, so that's it.
It's
We
one
say public domain. Public domain.
public domain.
Public domain.
Public
Yeah,
domain.
the public domain.
Yeah.
It's one area that we think would be an issue, no? When we push when discussion in Congress comes about, no?
Yeah.
That what about the state ownership, no?
It was not an issue in this case.
In your case.
No.
Okay. So there are no more questions or comments from the Zoom. Wala na ba? Sister, ang ating mga sisters nandyan. Yung ating nasa academe, nandyan din. Nandyan pa ba yung media natin? Si Mark? None? Wala na. Randy, would you have any thoughts? Sister? Kasi kung wala na, how about, okay, Ivan, go.
Attorney, I'm wondering about, is it a national law, this Mar Menor? Yeah. And is it a site-specific law applicable only to Mar Lagoon, or is it named after Mar Menor Lagoon?
You are asking if there is there is a state law
Yeah.
which is referring only to Mar Menor.
Yeah.
But your question is, sorry again.
Yeah, I understand this is a national law,
Yes.
but is it site-specific law only applicable to Mar Menor Lagoon?
Only.
Okay.
Only.
So
Only.
my next question is, I don't know how the precautionary principles apply in this law, or is it already recognized in the Supreme Court? Because here in the Philippines, we have, I Attorney Mac, I hope, correct me if I'm right, precautionary principles already recognized by Supreme Court. For example, I see in the Marlagon there's already a manifestation of fish kills due to eutrophications, nutrients coming from agro-industrial. But I don't know how the precautionary principles applies for this law, or is it already enshrined to other environmental laws, or is it already recognized in the Supreme Court in Spain?
The precautionary principle is recognized in the European Union legislation. So we have in our juridical system in Spain, but it has no work in the case of Mar Menor, because we should talk about polluter pays principle more than precautionary principle. The activities around the Mar Menor, they were not sufficient precautionary with the lagoon, so it didn't apply. It was not applied.
Okay. So when you left, there's a question about precautionary principle. So I'm not very clear also about the question. Uh,
As a manifestation of eutrophication, I don't know how the precautionary principles apply in terms of the
because in the Philippines,
Ang precautionary principle,
Mm.
ano siya,
English.
precautionary principle is, it's a principle that under the rules of procedure for environmental cases, the court will adopt the principle in the absence of a scientific evidence in terms of deciding a specific case. Then the court will rule in favor of precaution. So it will rule in favor of protecting the environment if there's really no further argument as to, yeah. But polluter principle is a different principle altogether, because it requires the polluter no to pay, mitigate, and all that, no, for the things, or the actions that it has taken that has affected the environment. And I think polluter principle is a principle also that would go against the rights of nature, because you're allowing polluters to pursue their activity for as long as there's always the presumption that they can mitigate or even reverse or rehabilitate.
Yeah.
While in truth and in fact, it's not really that the usual case. No?
I agree with my colleague, and I want to add that in Spain, thanks to the regulations from the European Union, we are talking about polluter restore, not polluter pays, polluter restore. That means that restore any amount of money. I don't care about the money. You need to take the measures to restore the what you
Rehabilitate.
liability, but polluter pays what a possibility to pay and go.
Yeah.
But this is not the issue. The
Yeah.
issue is restore.
Restoration.
The issue is if you have polluted
You
ecosystem,
need to
you need to restore the.
Yeah. Rehabilitate.
Yes.
Yes. That's true. There's another comment. Thank you very much for the inspiring, very inspiring padayon from the Cagayan de Oro group. Vicky, thank you. This was very interesting. Another one. This is Attorney Wancho, I think. Interesting. We have tried passing the local RON legislation as an ordinance. Yes, Attorney Wancho. Attorney Wancho is key also in filing the bill nationally because he is the staff of legal staff of Senator Risa Hontiveros, which is our champion lawmaker in the Senate. Yes, we have tried it already and we have one local ordinance in Infanta, Quezon, protecting. No, we have filed it, pero hindi pa po siya approved, no? It has been filed also in Infanta Quezon municipality, protecting an ecosystem, yung Agos River nila. So we will follow this through and hopefully we're also introducing the RON attorney to environmental codes. So in Marinduque, we had a multi-stakeholders meeting in a right shop and now it's in the stage ng technical working group creating the yung finalizing the environmental code with the rights of nature perspective. And then another one in G1, Eastern Samar, we have also started. And then the next one will be Candon. No, so we are actually trying to, as Attorney Maki said, do parallel measures, no, local, so that it can also help in the national level. Baka pag meron din sa baba, they're able to inform yung ating national law. So, Attorney Mac?
One last question, at least for me, no? On a personal level, no? You mentioned how did you, I mean, this conversion, because we lawyers are trained to think, to reproduce the status quo, no? With the laws that being passed and implemented, but this rights of nature, it's very really thinking out of the box and paradigm shift. And personally also, I have gone through this and still undergoing, no, this process. And I'm interested to hear from you. How did you go about this journey?
Yes, I was working in a case for 10 years ago in the south part of Spain, close to my region. And it was a very difficult case because it was regarding a source of water who was in danger because of olive trees plantations, olive trees because with gutter because they wanted to have many olives very quickly. And then I was thinking about working with Natura 2000, which is the the nature protection regulation in Europe. I wanted to use the conventional law, but it was very difficult. And then the client was an English person who was living in South Spain and told me, Here is a activist from England, which called Muntaito, who can who can Attorney Munta, who can maybe talk to you through Skype. We should using Skype before Zoom, Skype. And then Muntaito tried to convince me about the rights of nature theory and the possibilities to go to the local authority and create an ordinance to protect the source of water. And I was not so happy with the idea. I thought, no, we need to go to court. We need to go to the European institutions. We need to create another path. So we will to take another path with access to information. But rights of nature, this is crazy. What can you do here with rights of nature? Then with the Mar Menor was different because I have a personal touch with Mar Menor, and then I was frustrated as lawyer because of the existing laws. And then Teresa Vicente was a very important person in my life because we were discussing a lot, maybe 2 years discussing many discussions about rights of nature. She was convinced me. She wanted to convince me. I was very no. We use the existing laws. This rights of nature is not so good idea because it's very abstract, and you cannot bring that down in the enforceable law. After our conversations, we have wrote a book and she have invited me to bring the ideas of Arcus Convention, which is a convention for public participation. And we mix the two ways, the rights of nature with public participation. And then I was convinced because it's not only rights of nature, you let the idea flowing in the air. No, you bring the idea down, and then you let the people take the chance to hear nature, to be in contact with scientific people, with scientists, and to know which are the rights of nature, to defend the nature with other perspectives, not with the perspective that is an object that is serving us to have some serving us. No, it is like a person we need to respect, like a old grandmother, and we need to take the opportunity to defend the rights hearing the scientific part. So Teresa Vicente was the person who convinced me. She's guilty for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
She's philosopher. I didn't so she's philosopher, and the philosophy of law, it's a subject which is created to criticize the model of the law. So the philosophy of law is creative, and the administrative law, which is what I teach, is not creative. It's the opposite. It's conservative.
Yeah.
So
That's why.
for this
It's
reason, I was
conservative.
so reluctant to
Yes.
to believe.
Yeah. You have to be creative.
We
Yeah.
need to be creative.
Think out of the box.
Yeah.
Sige. Thank you so much. Meron nakalagay dito. Thank you so much, Attorney Eduardo. Thanks, Ron PH and PMPI for organizing this. And from Father Enrique, Mar Menor, give us for some frustration to more hope. Gracias, amigo, por tu compartir. Father Enrique is Spanish. Am I correct, Father? But he is a priest. He has a mission here in the Philippines. But he has been, I think, in Ecuador as as missionary. So he very much values the protection of environment. Sister Cora, very enlightening. Thanks and congrats, Attorney Salazar. Beth, thank you so much for sharing success in giving the rights of nature. Yes. So it's good to hear these stories because they are real and it gives us hope that the movement that we are starting here in the Philippines will happen. We need to believe and to hope that it will, or else wag na kaming mag-advocacy. Or else we don't do advocacy work anymore. So thank you to Eduardo. Thank you so much.
Don't lose the hope. I sometimes with the signatures, with the
True.
with the legislative, I was hope. I have doubts, but
Yeah.
Teresa Vicente, all the time, hope, hope, and hope is the only way.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's possible.
Yes. Everything is possible if we will it. Yes. Thank you so much. So till next roundtable discussion, we will have future colleagues in the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature for discussions like this, to see real cases and to hear real people with regards to their advocacy on the rights of nature.